The WWE Universe is in absolute shock, outrage, and disbelief right now. You can feel the anger buzzing through social media, through the arenas, and through every fan who's followed the meteoric rise of Bron Breakker. Because as of this very moment, Bron Breakker has been fired. Yes, you heard me right. Triple H himself has pulled the trigger and terminated Bron Breakker's contract following his violent and unprovoked assault on WWE official Adam Pearce. And if you think this was just another storyline twist, think again. This was ugly. This was brutal. This was the kind of attack that had people backstage questioning whether Bron had completely lost it, whether he crossed that invisible line between entertainment and real-life chaos. And the worst part, he didn't even care. Bron Breakker's face told the whole story, a twisted mixture of rage, entitlement, and defiance as he left Pearce broken on the mat, clutching at his ribs and gasping for breath. This wasn't just some minor scuffle. This wasn't just a superstar snapping after a bad loss. This was a deliberate, cold-blooded demolition of a man who wasn't even a competitor, who wasn't even supposed to be touched. Adam Pearce is an authority figure, someone who represents the structure, the order, the very backbone of WWE. And Bron Breakker just shattered that backbone in front of the world. Let's break down exactly how this disaster unfolded. It all began with weeks of frustration building up inside Bron Breakker. He's been saying it over and over again, that he deserves better, that he's the future of this business, that the company is holding him back. And maybe some fans sympathized at first. Maybe some people thought Bron had a point. But what he did last night erased all sympathy. During a segment that was supposed to be about clearing up a contract dispute, Adam Pearce stood in the middle of the ring trying to keep control of the situation. Bron stormed out, eyes blazing, jaw clenched like he was ready to tear through anyone in his way. The crowd knew something was off immediately. This wasn't his usual intensity. This was darker, heavier, more dangerous. Pearce tried to calm him down. He tried to reason with him. He even told Bron he'd talk to Triple H, that his concerns would be heard. But Bron didn't want words. He didn't want negotiations. He wanted destruction. Without warning, he lunged at Pearce, tackled him to the mat, and unleashed a storm of fists that had the crowd gasping in horror. Officials scrambled from the back, but Bron tossed them aside like rag dolls. The attack went on for minutes. Long, sickening minutes that felt like hours. A steel chair came into play. Pearce was slammed against the announce table. The referee who tried to intervene was nearly broken in half with a spear. The chaos was so out of control that even security struggled to contain him. By the time Bron was finally pulled away, Pearce was motionless, medics rushing to check on him, fans booing louder than they ever have in Bron Breakker's short but explosive career. And then came the statement from Triple H. WWE released it almost immediately, and the language was crystal clear. Bron Breakker's conduct was unacceptable. His actions endangered not just WWE officials, but the very integrity of the company. Effective immediately, his contract is terminated. Do you understand how rare this is? Superstars have gone off script before. We've seen legends clash with management. We've seen chaos. But firing someone with Bron's star power, his future, his marketability. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. This is Triple H sending a thunderous message. No one, not even Bron Breakker, is bigger than the rules, bigger than WWE itself. And yet, the debate rages on. Some fans are furious at Bron for what he did. They're saying he deserves to be blacklisted from the business forever, that he's a disgrace to the Steiner legacy, that he should never step foot in a WWE ring again. Others, and this is where it gets insane, are actually defending him. They're saying WWE management pushed him too far, that he was provoked, that Pearce got what was coming to him. But let's be honest here. Does anyone, no matter how frustrated they are, have the right to cross that line? To assault an official? To put a man's career and health in jeopardy just to make a point? And think about the timing. Bron Breakker was on the verge of breaking into the main event scene. He had everything laid out in front of him. The crowd reactions, the momentum, the backing of a powerful wrestling family name. Triple H was rumored to have big plans for him heading into Survivor Series season. Some even whispered he could be the guy to step up against someone like Seth Rollins or even Roman Reigns in the near future. But now, all of it is gone in an instant. Imagine being Triple H in that moment. You're trying to run a global company, keep the fans engaged, protect your officials, and then one of your brightest young stars completely torches his own future live on television. What choice did he really have? If he let Bron stay, it sends a message that violence against authority is tolerated. That's not just bad for the locker room, that's poison for the company. But here's where things get even crazier. Because multiple reports are already coming out that Bron Breakker isn't remorseful at all. In fact, insiders are saying that after the attack, Bron stormed out of the arena, yelling that he, doesn't need WWE, and that he'll make a name for himself anywhere he wants. Some even claim he was in talks with other promotions before this blow-up even happened. So now the million-dollar question is this the end of Bron Breakker in WWE forever? Or is this just another dangerous chapter in his unpredictable journey? Because let's not kid ourselves. Controversy sells. And as much as fans are disgusted, as much as Triple H had to take a stand, other companies are watching this very closely. AEW, TNA, NJPW, they'd all love to grab a name as hot and polarizing as Bron Breakker, even if he comes with baggage. Especially because he comes with baggage. But what about Adam Pearce? What about the man who's lying in a hospital bed right now because of Bron's rage? Is anyone going to talk about the toll this takes on him? On his family? On his role in WWE moving forward? Pearce has always been the quiet workhorse of WWE management, keeping things running behind the scenes, dealing with the chaos of egos and storylines. And this is the thanks he gets. To be blindsided, brutalized, and humiliated on live TV. Fans are furious. Hashtags like #FireBron and #Justice for Pearce are already trending. And yet, alongside them, you'll also see #Bron was right and #Breaker Unleashed trending just as hard. This split in the fanbase is toxic, and it's exactly what WWE didn't need right now. Backstage after the incident, the atmosphere was nothing short of nuclear. Wrestlers who normally don't even get along were united in one thing: they're disgusted with Bron Breakker. Reports from insiders describe the locker room as tense and angry, with veterans openly saying they've never seen anything like this in recent years. Triple H, visibly furious, held an emergency meeting immediately after Pearce was stretchered out. Some superstars thought it was all part of the show at first, but when they realized Adam Pearce was legitimately injured, the mood turned from confusion to outrage. Imagine being a young star like Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, or even someone like Grayson Waller, watching what Bron just did. You're fighting tooth and nail for your spot, you're grinding every single night to prove yourself, and then one guy thinks he's above all of it and decides to attack management instead of earning his place. That's a slap in the face to everyone in the locker room. And yet, here's where it gets twisted. Some younger talents, names aren't being mentioned yet, but insiders say it's the ones who've grown close to Bron, are actually supporting him behind closed doors. They're whispering that Triple H and Pearce played favorites, that Bron was tired of broken promises, that he was driven to the edge. But is that really an excuse? Or is it just fear? Because let's face it, Bron Breakker is a dangerous man. He's not just another superstar with a flashy moveset. This is a genetic freak with Steiner blood pumping through his veins. He's raw power, explosiveness, and aggression wrapped in human form. And when that kind of man decides he doesn't care about rules anymore, who's going to stand up to him? Even some of the top names were reportedly shaken. Seth Rollins, who was preparing for his own segment that night, was overheard saying Bron lost his damn mind. Kevin Owens, never one to keep his mouth shut, was livid and demanded that WWE set an example immediately. And Roman Reigns, sources say even the tribal chief raised an eyebrow and remarked that Bron might need to be taught respect, and if Roman's weighing in, it's serious. But what about the fans? Let's not ignore them. Because if you were online in the hours after this disaster, you saw the explosion of opinions. On one side, fans were calling for Bron's permanent blacklisting. He just ended his own career in 10 minutes. This isn't wrestling, this is assault. Triple H did the right thing firing him. Protect Pearce at all costs. But the other side, they were just as loud. Bron's the only one brave enough to expose how fake the authority is. Pearce has been screwing talent for months, he had it coming. Triple H fired the only future main eventer they had left. Big mistake. The fanbase is fractured, and that's dangerous. Because when the audience doesn't know whether to boo or cheer, when the lines between hero and villain blur this much, chaos reigns. And here's the irony. Bron Breakker may have destroyed his WWE career, but in doing so, he made himself the hottest name in the industry overnight. Everybody's talking about him. His name is everywhere. That kind of notoriety doesn't fade. Now let's talk about Adam Pearce. The man at the center of all this. Doctors are reporting that Pearce suffered multiple contusions, possible cracked ribs, and a severe concussion from the attack. He's expected to miss weeks, maybe even months of television time. For someone who's been the stabilizing presence on Raw and SmackDown, his absence leaves a massive void. Who steps into that role now? Who becomes the authority figure to control the madness? Because don't forget, Bron Breakker's rampage didn't just hurt Pearce physically, it damaged the credibility of WWE's entire management structure. If a superstar can just walk in and annihilate the boss without consequence, what does that say about the order of the company? That's why Triple H had to act fast and make an example. The firing wasn't just punishment, it was damage control. It was WWE trying to patch a wound that might already be bleeding too much. But let's dig into Triple H's mindset here. Remember, he was the one who pushed Bron Breakker hard from the beginning. He brought him into NXT, molded him into a star, put him in front of millions. Triple H believed Bron was the future, his project, his investment, his golden boy. To cut ties this suddenly, to release a man he once called the cornerstone of the next generation. That's not just business. That's personal. So what happens now? Speculation is already running wild. Some fans think Bron could pop up in AEW within months. Imagine the headlines. Fired by Triple H, signed by Tony Khan. The internet would explode. Others say NJPW might scoop him up, put him in the G1, and let him unleash his raw power on a global stage. And then there's the more dangerous theory, that Bron doesn't go anywhere for now, that he waits, builds up his rage, and one day storms back into WWE unannounced, whether they want him there or not. And you know what? That last one doesn't sound too far-fetched. Because people like Bron Breakker don't just disappear quietly. They don't fade away. They don't accept defeat. They burn. They simmer. And eventually, they erupt. But the biggest tragedy in all this is wasted potential. Bron Breakker could have been the face of this generation. He could have been the man to carry WWE into the next era. Instead, he chose destruction. He chose violence. And he might have just thrown it all away. And now, every fan is left asking the same question. Did Bron Breakker just end his career before it truly began, or is this only the beginning of something even darker? The ripple effects of Bron Breakker's firing aren't just shaking WWE, they're shaking the entire wrestling world. From AEW to NJPW to Impact, insiders, legends, and rival promoters are already chiming in, and the reactions are as explosive as the incident itself. First, let's talk about WWE legends. Booker T, never shy about voicing his opinions, went off on his podcast. His exact words: Bron Breakker just flushed the biggest opportunity of his life down the toilet. You don't cross the line with management, you don't assault authority, and you damn sure don't embarrass the company on live TV. That's career suicide. Strong words, but are they wrong? Booker's been around long enough to know how thin that line is. But then, there's the opposite take. On another podcast, Eric Bischoff actually defended Bron. He claimed, this is the kind of raw, unscripted chaos that makes wrestling feel real again. People are talking. They're angry, they're debating, they're invested. WWE might think they lost control, but what they really got was the hottest storyline in years. Bischoff went so far as to suggest this could be a work-shoot hybrid, meaning part reality, part storyline. But the injuries to Pearce tell a different story. Meanwhile, the AEW locker room is buzzing. Some AEW stars were reportedly joking backstage, saying Tony Khan should back up the Brinks truck and sign Bron the second his no-compete clause ends. Imagine Bron Breakker storming into AEW, spearing someone like Wardlow or squaring off with Powerhouse Hobbs. That visual alone has fans drooling. But others are warning Khan. Do you really want to take on a guy who just got fired for attacking an official? That's like inviting a ticking time bomb into your house. And then there's the elephant in the room, Scott Steiner. Bron's uncle. The man known for his unfiltered, often chaotic personality. Fans are waiting for Big Papa Pump to explode online, and honestly, who knows what he'll say. If Scott Steiner decides to back Bron, things could get ugly fast. But if he condemns him, that might be the final nail in Bron's coffin, because family is the one card Bron still has to play. Now let's circle back to WWE. What's next for management? With Adam Pearce out of commission, Raw and SmackDown are left without their key authority figure. Fans are already speculating about replacements. Could Triple H himself step into the role temporarily, appearing on-screen more to restore order? Or could this be the opening for someone like William Regal to return to television as the voice of authority once again? Some even think this could be a chance for Nick Aldis to get a bigger spotlight, especially since he's been building credibility as SmackDown GM. But let's not ignore the most disturbing whispers coming out of WWE. Some people backstage think Bron's attack wasn't just a tantrum, they think it was calculated. That he wanted out. That he wanted to force WWE's hand, get himself fired, and jump to another company where he'd be treated like a main event star immediately. If that's true, then Bron Breakker just pulled off one of the most shocking career moves in wrestling history, burning WWE to the ground on his way out to make himself the hottest free agent alive. And here's where things get truly mind-bending. Because fans are already crafting wild theories. Some believe Triple H firing Bron is just the first act of a massive storyline that blurs the lines of reality. They think Bron will invade WWE down the road, showing up despite being fired, forcing security to stop him, breaking rules, and turning into wrestling's most dangerous outlaw. Others think this is WWE's way of quietly writing him off TV while he's secretly negotiating a monster deal to return at a big event, maybe even the Royal Rumble. The debate online is insane. Reddit threads with thousands of comments, YouTube debates going viral, Twitter spaces packed with fans yelling over each other. And all of it centers on one man, Bron Breakker. Whether you love him or hate him, whether you want him gone forever or you're begging to see him back, you can't ignore him. He's the name on everyone's lips. And don't think the other superstars aren't paying attention. This kind of controversy shifts the entire locker room dynamic. Some stars are worried this makes everyone look unprofessional. Others are quietly excited because it opens doors for them to get the push Bron was supposed to get. If Bron's gone, someone else has to step up. Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, even Gunther, the vacuum Bron left behind could be their opportunity. But at the same time, you have to wonder, who's going to be the one to step up and condemn Bron publicly on live TV? You know it's coming. WWE loves to use real-life chaos to fuel storylines, and someone, maybe Seth Rollins, maybe Cody Rhodes, maybe even Roman Reigns, is going to stand in the middle of that ring and call Bron Breakker out. Not as a competitor, but as a disgrace to the business. And when that promo happens, the crowd is going to lose their minds. Still, here's the harsh truth. Whether Triple H likes it or not, Bron Breakker just made himself bigger than the company for one night. That's the kind of power WWE hates, but it's also the kind of power that sells tickets, sells pay-per-views, sells headlines. And that leaves everyone wondering, will WWE really let this fire burn out, or will they find a way to control it, weaponize it, and turn it into the biggest storyline of the year? One thing's for certain, the damage is done. Adam Pearce is in the hospital, the locker room is in chaos, and the fans are at war with each other. Bron Breakker may be gone, but the shockwaves he caused are going to be felt for months, maybe even years. The WWE Universe is restless. Fans aren't just tweeting and posting, they're rioting online. Every thread, every comment section, every forum is divided right down the middle. Half are screaming that Bron Breakker is a menace who deserves to be blackballed forever, while the other half are demanding that Triple H reverse the firing and reinstate him immediately. And here's where it gets really interesting. Survivor Series is right around the corner, and for weeks there were heavy rumors that Bron was going to play a massive role in one of the brand warfare matches. Some insiders even claimed he was penciled in to lead Team Raw. But now, with him fired, those plans are obliterated. Triple H and creative are reportedly scrambling to rewrite huge chunks of the Survivor Series card, because Bron's absence leaves a gaping hole in the storylines they'd been building. But imagine this scenario. What if Bron Breakker decides he doesn't care about being fired, doesn't care about rules, and storms Survivor Series anyway? Picture it. The final minutes of a Raw vs SmackDown elimination match, the crowd buzzing, and suddenly Bron Breakker jumps the barricade, lays waste to everyone, and stands tall while security desperately tries to drag him out. That image alone would break the internet. And that's why fans can't stop debating if this whole thing is real or not. Because on one hand, the injuries to Adam Pearce are very real, and Triple H's fury was very real. But on the other, WWE thrives on chaos. WWE wants you to question reality. And if this is all part of a bigger plan, then we're looking at the most daring storyline WWE has pulled off in years. But let's not get lost in fantasy. Let's stick to the facts. Right now, Bron Breakker is unemployed, and WWE has a mess on its hands. Survivor Series may not have him, but Royal Rumble is looming on the horizon, and you know what that means. The Royal Rumble is built on surprise entrance. Imagine the reaction if Bron Breakker's music hit and he came storming down that ramp as an uninvited guest, breaking every rule, defying Triple H live in front of the world. The boos, the cheers, the chaos, it would be pure pandemonium. And if you think that's far-fetched, remember, WWE has a long history of fired superstars showing up anyway. Stone Cold Steve Austin did it. John Cena did it. Hell, even CM Punk blurred those lines more than once. So don't think for a second that WWE won't at least consider turning this real-life disaster into TV gold. But let's talk about the darkest possibility. What if Bron doesn't come back? What if this really is the end of his WWE chapter, and he takes his talents somewhere else? If AEW signs him, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and even WrestleMania season will feel different. WWE will have lost a weapon that could have been one of their most dominant stars of the next decade. That's a painful pill to swallow, and one Triple H will have to live with if Bron shows up on another stage tearing through competition. And speaking of WrestleMania, Bron Breakker was heavily rumored for a huge match at WrestleMania 41. Some speculated it could have been against John Cena in a passing of the torch match. Others thought he might collide with Seth Rollins or even Gunther on the grandest stage of them all. Now, those dreams are dust. WWE has to pivot, and pivot fast, because WrestleMania isn't just another show, it's the showcase of immortals, and Bron was supposed to be one of the immortals in the making. The fans know this. That's why the outrage is boiling over. They're not just mad at Bron. They're mad at the wasted potential, the lost matches, the storylines that will never happen now. They're mad that one man's reckless actions could derail months of build-up, throw creative into panic mode, and rob them of dream matches they'd been waiting for. And let's be real. WWE superstars are mad too. Imagine being Cody Rhodes, busting your back to finish the story, only to have your momentum overshadowed by one man's meltdown. Imagine being Seth Rollins, carrying the World Heavyweight Championship with pride, and now every headline is about Bron Breakker instead of your reign. Imagine being Adam Pearce, lying in a hospital bed, wondering if you'll even have a role when you recover. Bron didn't just attack one man. He attacked the system, the company, the locker room, and the fans all in one night. And whether intentional or not, he set fire to everything around him. Now here's the million-dollar question. Can WWE ever recover that trust? Can the locker room feel safe again knowing that one of their own could snap and destroy management on live TV? Can fans trust that their favorite superstars will stick around without imploding? Or is this the start of a darker era, one where chaos reigns and nothing feels safe anymore? Because if Triple H doesn't get a handle on this, if he doesn't show he's still in control, then Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania could all be poisoned by the ghost of Bron Breakker. Even if he's gone, his shadow will loom over everything. And that, right there, might be Bron's biggest victory. He may be fired. He may be disgraced. But he's unforgettable. And that's what terrifies WWE the most.